My name is Janet Taylor, and been fostering cats for many years. For the Humane Society, I've been doing it for a couple of years now.
My name is Rachel Taylor, and I've been a foster parent for a couple of years now, not counting all the work I did before I came to the Humane Society.
Well, we got the amount of kittens that we have. We have 6 kittens, and they were born here in this room. And the mom came in very pregnant, and they said could happen any minute. And but she waited 4 days of just eating 5 cans of cat food a day, and then 5 weeks ago, she went into labor, and my daughter Rachel was with me, and we saw the contraction, and we were like, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh my goodness, that's a contraction." And 30 minutes later, she had her first kitten, and it took about 4 or 5 hours for all the kittens to be born, and it was just really magical.
You're told that, and it is that way for most cats, that mother cats want to be alone when they're giving birth. Me and my sister came in, and she was like, she hadn't given birth to any kittens yet, and she tried to climb on my sister's lap while she was giving birth. Like, if we hadn't shooed her back into the cage, she would have given birth on my sister's lap. She was really chill about it.
How many kittens have I fostered? It kind of becomes a blur, because we kind of have this rolling admissions here where we take 2 or we take 6, or sometimes we've had as many as 11. And but I guess over the past couple of years, it's somewhere around 150, 200 cats have come through the house. The benefits of fostering are, they're very personal, and I do feel like it's a way to give back to the world. We take so much, and these animals are here because humans created them as pets, and then they get overpopulated, and so we, just feel that it's a little bit we can do to give them a strong start, and and of course they're just so sweet and so enjoyable that we really enjoy it just for their sake, but it is also something that we can do in our own home that's volunteering for the community, for just for the betterment of the our community environment, and for them, because they're so special. Well, when I come into the room, they are so excited to see us, and they just run and they start mewing, and they start climbing up our legs, and they're just really excited, and they just seem to really appreciate seeing us. We can't stay here all day, so we usually come in 4 or 5 times a day, and so our times in here are very thrilling for them.
I come in here a few times a day. I mean, I don't have unlimited free time, and the Wi-Fi isn't very good in here, so I can't do homework in here, and besides, they'd be all over my computer. They love computers. They're very new and interesting, and keyboards are so fun to walk on. But they shower us with affection whenever we come in. It's like if you ever want to go into a room where you will just be unconditionally loved by bunches of furry things, this is a great place. And they like it. They love people, this group. And I mean, it's kind of unusual in some ways, because like oftentimes the ones with mothers are more bonded to mom at this age, but they're just as bonded to us. And they love us. Don't you? We have people come over, they'll like, okay, so what happens is I'm the one who takes the pictures and records the kittens and stuff, because I'm the tech savvy one. So I post the pictures on Facebook, and then mom calls her family, and like my aunt will be commenting on the pictures, and my cousin and my friends, and people want to come over and meet the kittens, and so they'll come over and meet the kittens, and it's really cute because actually people don't normally get to see them at this age. like when you adopt a kitten from the Humane Society, it's usually about 2 pounds minimum, because that's the size they need to have the operation. But those are like small children, and this is more like a 3 or 4 year old. And then there's even younger, and they look like little caterpillars. And so you really get to see a lot more of like the childhood of a cat when you do this.
It always is hard for us to give up kittens after we've taken care of them for usually 8 weeks. And we know their personalities so individually, and we really do care about them. But, we feel like we're just a part of the process, and have to remember that when it comes time, the day to take them in. And, it seems sad at first, but then we hear about them getting adopted, and we're really happy for them. And then we get the next set, and we fall in love with them. So it is part of the process. I've heard some people say, no, I don't think about it. I take them and that's it. And all I can speak for is for ourselves is that we do really fall in love with them. Foster failures have happened to us. We had a set of kittens that came to us, and they each weighed about 6 ounces. And so we fed them by bottles, and then we went to feeding them by syringes, and they became so attached to us. We were the mom. They probably had barely any memory of their real mom. I think they were about a week and a half, 2 weeks old when we got them, and we just couldn't let go of a couple of them, and we adopted them. But it would be nice to have plenty of room to do that more, but we maxed out.
Of the 2 we kept, one of them is my cat, really, and he's a definite favorite. There are definitely cats I've wanted to keep more than others. Usually, like, some of them are more just bonded to us, and I always feel really bad about letting them go, not necessarily just for my sake, but also because they're like, this is our home, and it's sad to take them away from that. But also, like, when you see them in the shelter after that, they're usually quite peaceful, and they usually get adopted pretty quickly.
The foster program at the Humane Society is so strong, and working with Ann Edwards, who's the coordinator, and Dr. Julie, who is the vet we see for the kitten program, for the foster program. They're just so warm, and they're great to work with, and it's just fun to see them, talk to them, and work with them. And also any problems that we have. With one of the cats that we adopted, we came in one morning and he wasn't really breathing. He looked like he had passed. And Anne came at 6 in the morning and took him back to the shelter and gave him fluids, called me at noon and said, he's fine. But she got up early, came here, went that extra mile to save one more animal, and she just never loses energy and really cares about each individual animal. And we always have good medical care. We have good food, and anything that comes up, we get the medicine and help get them along their way. And for foster animals, they frequently do have problems. They frequently have been exposed to parasites, fleas, different things. We have to help them medically get to healthy level so they can be adopted. And there's just nothing that they think is too much to help them with.
Just that I think that we're really lucky to have the resources we have in this foster program. We aren't really left on our own as much. With the old Humane Society and with other programs, we haven't really been supported as much. And these kittens get all of the health care, and like they're seen regularly. They get shots. if we have any problems, they'll be helped. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's a huge help.
No. No, we're not gonna do that. No, maybe not. Maybe the answer is no. I'm Monica Dressler, and I've been fostering for over 5.5 years. And this is Roxanne, and she's my current foster, and she's been with me just over a week. Roxanne is number 30. So over the 5.5 years, I've fostered 30 dogs. And most of the time, it's just one at a time. Right now, I have Roxanne and I have Noodle, which is rare. But Roxanne was with another foster, and she was then going to be dog sitting. So fosters help each other out, and so Roxanne then came and staying with me short term. We're looking for another more permanent foster for her, so hopefully that will happen soon. Actually, I think the most important thing is that the Humane Society of Huron Valley is really able to have a really high save rate and saving animal lives because of foster. It's often that an animal will come in with medical conditions, or sometimes has had to have some operation, needs to have some healing time. There often are a fair number of dogs that come in that are heartworm positive and then need heartworm treatment, or animals that have behavior issues that just don't do well in a kennel environment. All the activity of people coming in and out and other dogs, and that in other shelters, those animals often will get put down because they just can't keep them, and they don't show well, they're not adoptable, because they just get so excited or are so nervous. Where if you can have the dog in a home environment, then the dog is able to really be able to just be a normal pet. If there are any behavior issues, we can work on that. So a lot of times it's helping a dog that's been under-socialized or not even socialized at all. A lot of strays will come in, have never walked on a leash, and so they have a chance to learn that and then go to families and have a normal pet life, which is really, really cool. And the Humane Society of Huron Valley has an exceptional save rate for a shelter of this size, and has been recognized multiple years before that, and the fostering program has a really big part in that. I tend to get dogs that have been under-socialized or have various issues. So Roxanne, although as sweet as she is, she does have some separation anxiety, and so helping her understand and learn that people will be able to come back, that you don't have to freak out. Other issues are barking, not being able to walk on a leash, or barking obsessively at people when they go by, trying to really understand why are they barking. And then also just learning how to behave in a house. So that might involve house training, crate training. Not all fosters get such challenging dogs, so it really is thinking about people who might want to be fosters. That most of the dogs that are going into foster have been checked out in advance. They really have been temperament tested, and the shelter staff can really help the foster understand how to manage that. There's also a great support system among fosters so that we can ask questions, get advice, get help on things if there are things that we might notice. And then we can also take medical issues back to the shelter vets and be able to help work on those as well. So the community is really great. And there's a volunteers Facebook page, but also among the fosters, we do email and share. I'm on a phone tree, so if people have questions, they can call. And then the foster coordinator really helps the fosters checking in. If we need anything, she'll come by and drop things off. All of the supplies that you might need for a dog. So if you're fostering, you get the food and toys and leashes and things like that. Since I have my own dogs, I don't need as many of those things, but Roxanne, with her allergies, is on special food, so the shelter folks are able to supply me with all of that. So it's really a great opportunity. So if somebody is traveling a lot or might not have the time to be full-time with a dog, or if somebody's in school and is going to be gone on an internship at some point, but you just want a dog for short term, it's perfect opportunity to care for a dog for a short amount of time. Is it hard to give up the animal? That's the number one question that I get is it hard to give the animal up? And I will admit there are some of the animals that I really adore, particularly if they've been fostering with me for a long time. But I like to remind people or tell people it's like you've been dog sitting, right? And for a short amount of time, they're going to stay with you, and you're going to treat them as your own dog, and then they're going to go off with their new family. And particularly when they're getting adopted, the family is excited, the dog's excited, everybody's happy. It's really exciting, and it's a great thing to be part of experience with. I still maintain a fair amount of contact with people who have adopted my foster dogs. So I see pictures of them on Facebook, or they'll post and send those on other venues. So it's nice to stay in contact. Also, I might see some those alumni at Walk and Wag in the spring, and be able to see them around. So it's not like you're keeping a dog and then you're giving up. You know that the dog is going to just be with you for a short amount of time. But the reward, I think, is more important. That here's a dog that really needed you, and you were able to provide that environment, and that is the best thing. That's more important than if you're sad when the dog is gone. And there's always an opportunity for another dog. So actually, I regularly will see one dog get adopted, and then it'll be a couple of days later, and the shelter will call up and say, "Hey, we've got another one." So there's always a new one coming around, and you just get to have that excitement of getting to know a new dog. So it's sad to see them go, but it's also a really happy thing. I actually think that every adoption where the adoption sticks, and it actually works out, and the family is happy, that is really a success story. The dog that I had the longest was Harley, and he was the large pit mix. They think that maybe he was pit and mastiff, so big dog, and he got adopted by a family that had a couple of college students who were living at home and a couple of high school students who were living at home, And they were just overjoyed with him, and they loved him and adored him, and that's the type of success story you want. So every single one of them really is, and you know, you can go through the whole list and you know think about the dogs that have gotten adopted and how happy they are with their families. Does it take a special kind of person to be a foster? I think it helps if you know something about dogs and if you're interested in dog behavior, because then you're able to watch what is the dog doing. You have a little bit of an idea about what to watch for. However, I think really just a love of dogs is something that's important. And if you enjoy dogs, if you like dogs, then fostering dogs is, you know, can be for anybody. And the more behaviorist dog training type activities, or how to deal with a dog who gets nervous around people, or how to manage an anxious dog, those are things that people can learn. So if you just care about dogs and you want to see the best for their welfare, those are the opportunities that, you know, that anybody can foster.